so we'll share this mic, I guess.
Okay. Good morning. Welcome to Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship. I'm Sue Livingston, today's celebrant.
And I'm Reverend Paul Beckel, and I've had enough. That seems to be a widely shared frame of mind about now.
But just for this moment, let's breathe. And let this moment be enough.
Thank you, Claire. Our guest pianist today, along with Melanie, is Claire Miller.
Last week, John and I packed our bikes and rode out our door into spring to a ferry ride that docked on an island of forest and beaches of silver driftwood, stones, and light. In the absence of things to do, being enlarged. We picnicked on a slab of driftwood, watching tides rise and cumulus clouds catch light. An eagle swooped right before us fishing. A seal curled the waters. When we leave home for the wide arms of the outdoors, pare life down to movement, hunger, and presence, we rediscover ourselves and each other in a state of joy, and that is worth shedding every comfort left behind. As Paul lights our flaming chalice, I'm going to share a passage by Annie Dillard that expands on my journal entry. She says, "We are here to abet creation and to witness it, to notice each thing so each thing gets noticed. Together we notice not only each other and each mountain shadow, each stone on the beach, but we notice each other's beautiful face and complex nature so that creation need not play to an empty house. Please join me in saying our covenant. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service gives it life. Celebrating our diversity and joined by a quest for truth, we work for peace and honor all creation. This is our covenant. This Memorial Day, we're thinking about, we're feeling, and we're remembering our losses. Painful losses in Uvalde's school shooting and every shooting tragedy. The war in Ukraine, COVID, and losses that come as a natural part of life. Losses, as Willie Nelson sings, are not something we get over, but something we get through. Amanda Gorman just wrote this poem in this week's time called Hymn for the Hurting. Everything hurts, our hearts shadowed and strange, minds made muddled and mute. We carry tragedy, terrifying and true, and yet none of it is new. We know it as home, as horror, as heritage, even as children. Cannot be children, cannot be. Everything hurts. It's a hard time to be alive, and even harder to stay that way. We're burdened to live out these days while at the same time blessed to outlive them. This alarm is how we know we must be altered, that we must differ or die, that we must triumph or try. Thus, while hate cannot be terminated, it can be transformed into a love that lets us live. May we not just grieve, but give. May we not just ache, but act. May our signed right to bear arms never blind our sight from shared harm. May we choose our children over chaos. May another innocent never be lost. Maybe everything hurts, our hearts shadowed and strange, but only when everything hurts, may everything change.
Please stand as you are able and sing with us number 1014 in the Teal hymnal. Notice that the words have been changed by the original author, Jason Shelton, who a few years after he wrote this came to understand that standing in the side of love implies not only that we can all stand, but also kind of feels like taking sides, like I'm on the side of God, which may not be the best way to look at life, and yet answering the call of love might be a very rich way to share our intentions. So you'll probably get it wrong, and that's okay to sing, because it says standing on the side of love several times in this song. So if you get it wrong, that's cool. But try to replace that with the phrase, answering the call of love, number 1014.
It would be so.
the promise of the Spirit. Faith, hope, and love abide, and so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together, our hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling a vision divine. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim. We are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love. Wonderful. And Pam now will share an anti-racist minute with us.
In the work of understanding and dismantling racism and other forms of oppression and violence, we discover that through our ignorance, acquiescence, our actions, and our inactions, we are complicit in allowing racism and violence and the injustices they inflict to continue. From my own experience, these realizations instilled in me a great sense of responsibility, guilt, and shame. It felt and it feels overwhelming. I felt powerless. I lost hope that anything I could do would be effective. During these times, I have reacquainted myself with the healing power of the ancient Hawaiian practice of Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is all about forgiveness and reconciliation. It helps deconstruct the passive postures of powerlessness, hopelessness, fear, guilt, and shame. Engagement in a practice of forgiveness and reconciliation can transform passive postures to active ones, breaking one free from the paralysis of powerlessness and despair. It's an effective way of healing our relationship to ourselves and to others, allowing the qualities of love and harmony to flow once again. Ho'oponopono is a process of making things right, returning balance, beginning with ourselves. And it is very simple. It goes like this. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. In this type of scenario, it is said silently, repetitively, and sincerely. There are many other settings Ho'oponopono can be applicable to, and the results can be immediate or evolve over time. Please take a second and say to yourself, I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I offer this to you as a resource, a tool for healing as you work to undo racism and violence. I offer it to you in faith that it will do for you what it has done for me.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you so much. Let's take a moment to abide with one another in peace and rest, attentive but relaxed, knowing that we are embraced by this community in this moment. And in a meditative style, I will be reading a poem by Marge Piercy. Kaddish is a word used in the Jewish tradition for a wide variety of hymns, prayers. This is a hymn of praise. Look around us. Search above us. Below, behind. We stand in a great web of being, joined together. Let us praise, let us love the life we are lent, passing through us in the body of Israel and our own bodies. Let's say, Amen. Time flows through us like water. The past and the dead speak through us. We breathe our children's children blessing. Blessed is the earth from which we grow. Blessed the life we are lent. Blessed the ones who teach us. Blessed the ones we teach. Blessed is the word that cannot say the glory that shines through us and remains to shine, flowing past distant suns on the way to forever. Let's say, Amen. Blessed is the light, blessed is the darkness, but blessed above all else is peace, which bears the fruits of knowledge on strong branches. Let's say Amen. Peace that bears joy into the world, peace that enables love, peace over Israel everywhere. Blessed and holy is peace. Let's say Amen. Amen. Although I'll say it again, blessed the life we are lent, the life we are lent. Blessed the ones who teach us, bless us the ones we teach. Blessed is the word that cannot say the glory that shines through us and remains to shine, flowing past distant suns on the way to forever. And yet, It is so hard sometimes to feel blessed. When we feel like we've had just about enough anguish, enough worry, enough disgust to last a lifetime. But what is enough? Not all of us have enough to live comfortably. Not all of us have enough to live. Last week I spoke about beauty and the hope that here and now, in this age, in these hearts, through these eyes, we might be able to recognize the whole world in a grain of sand, and heaven in just a wildflower. Is that enough? Do we have enough? Do I do enough? Are each of us enough? Simply, are each of us enough such that with allies far and wide, we can encompass the hurt? Are we enough with allies far and wide? Many strands of decency, hope, and resilience interwoven with the astonishing cosmic question of why? Yeah, I was just speaking about our allies far and wide. May we be enough. Of course, what we mean when we use the expression, I've had enough, is that we've had too much. We're so full of dismay that even if we don't add another drop for the rest of our lives, it will take at least that long for it to all drain away. And what are the chances of there not being more still for us to brave? The Red Cedar Zen community holds meditation sessions here at Buff while they are working on a new building for themselves. I love it when a variety of spiritual groups and musicians, activists, families gathered for memorial services, bird watchers coming to learn together, all of these groups and more that share our building. How they all bring something into this space that resonates long after they're gone and creates a powerful synergy to embrace each next person or group who enters. Yesterday, the Zen Center held a day-long retreat in the social hall. May the energy they brought remain with us. You may be familiar with the Buddhist expression, chop wood, carry water. That's it. That's the whole thing. It comes from the story of the novice who says to the master, what does one do before enlightenment? Chop wood, carry water, answers the master. The novice asks, well, then, what does one do after enlightenment? The master replies, chop wood, carry water. Well, by some serendipity, 20 feet from where our friends were meditating, water making its way downstream from the dishwasher, encountered a blocked pipe and overflowed an inch or two throughout the kitchen, with more seeping under the walls into adjacent space. It was not enough to be really a disaster, but it was enough. As Kathy Watto and I mopped and wet-vacked and carried sloshing containers to another drain that appeared not to be clogged, and it wasn't clogged, fortunately, I reflected on the wisdom of the understanding that before enlightenment and after enlightenment, what do? We go about our ordinary daily tasks. But since I'm before enlightenment, when I'm going about my daily tasks, my mind might be somewhere and everywhere. I imagine that after enlightenment, though I'm not pretending to be on the path that goes by that particular name, so I'll just say at my best moments, while what I'm doing looks the same, I try to be fully present to what is at hand. Its messiness and its beauty and the inherent worth and dignity of every moment. Instead, though, I was thinking of how the meditation group should be grateful to us for providing such a wonderful distraction. After all, noise and trouble, it's kind of hard to ignore, but imagine what a powerful sense of presence one can have in just setting that aside. I was thinking we should charge more for that. The bit from Annie Dillard that Sue shared a minute ago uses the word witness. We are here to abet creation, help. We are here to abet creation and witness to it. I can think of two definitions of witness. First, it being a moral presence. If we are witness to a child dedication where we embrace that family, we embrace being in the world for that child. If we are witness to a crime, if we are witness to something that ought to be a crime, there is power in that witness. Even if we can do no more to fix the situation, bearing witness is sometimes enough. Another sense of witness is to experience the full impact of the moment, to immerse ourselves in all of it, and all of it, and that's enough. And finally, I think of the words of my late colleague, Reverend Forrest Church. Want what you have. Be who you are. Do what you can. Want what you have. Be who you are. Do what you can. And that's enough. Amen.
A college professor gave my class an unusual assignment: to make a promise to ourselves to do one thing of our choice and decide how long and how often we would show up to do it, that promise to ourselves, each week. We were strongly encouraged to think small, an attainable goal. For example, I made a piano promise to play piano 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week. I thought, even working and in grad school, who doesn't have 10 minutes? We chose one partner in class to check in with each week and share with one another only this. You could say, yes, I met my promise this week, or no, I did not meet my promise. There were no excuses or reasons involved. It wasn't always easy to show up. It meant clearing the space in one's head, heart, and life to be consistent to one choice and to let go of myriad other choices that could derail those 10 minutes. Well, 16 weeks later, everyone shared their stories of what unfolded, and the results surpassed my imagination. One person's walk, it was like 15 minutes at lunch hour, became a company-wide walking group. A goal to grow one plant turned into a full-blown garden. Reading a book instead of watching TV morphed into a book club. And my 10 minutes a day at the piano became a body of work that eventually became a record. What we learned about being accountable to something that we wanted was that changing one thing could change everything in the power of holding true to one small step, and that is enough. Now I'd like to read a poem that literally branches out from the story I just shared. It's called Pruning the Orchard by May Sarton. Out there in the orchard, they have come to prune the overgrowth, cut back and free the crisscrossed branches of apple and plum, shaping the formless back to symmetry. They do not work for beauty's sake, but to improve the harvest come next year. Each tough, lopsided branch they choose to break is broken toward fruit more crisp and rare. I watch them, full of wonder and dismay, feeling the need to shape my life, be calm like the untroubled pruners who all day cut back, are ruthless and without a qualm. Muse, pour strength into my pruning wrist that I may cut the way toward open space, a timeless orchard, poetry possessed, there without guilt to contemplate your face. Join me now for 5 minutes of silence. Take this time as you wish to let May Sarton's poem come into you without further thought, or consider the questions that are on your order of service or that show on Zoom.
Okay, your paper's still in the printer.
As we move along in the printed order of service, and the same material appears for you now on Zoom, maybe there is a nudge here in those words, something small to help you tap into an inner well of awareness. Let's take a few minutes now to consider, in wanting what we have, what might spring to the surface? A rediscovery of resources, tools, assets, and how they might help us to bear witness, to yield, and to bring forth our best selves. Thank you, Sue. And now all the pieces come together. I invite you to share with us in a ritual of stepping in to whatever it is. If you were to boldly enter into the reality before you, not the reality before your neighbor, not the reality of yesterday, not the unreality, But what is it right before you now? Something you treasure or something you'd rather avoid? That small promise. What would it be like to embody this in the embrace of a community that hopes for the very best for you? I'm going to invite you to come up the way you do for milestones. Actually, you could come up a little further. There's a little red line, and I'd like the line to go up to that. You'll see it when you come up. In order to embody your intention, I'm going to invite you to, so you're a step behind the microphone, I'm going to invite you to very, very deliberately step into blank. That's for you to tell us. Just a couple of words. Just a couple of words. Don't tell us your name. This is for yourself. Maybe it can even be a mantra to yourself. It doesn't matter if we understand all the context, it's not to explain to us. Create a few words for yourself. I step into. So it needs to be short enough to remember and take with you. If mobility limits you so that you really can't come up in person, I will come around with the microphone. But there's a real value in a ritual experience as far as establishing for yourself that you do have the courage to do this, whatever it is. You are enough. If you're on Zoom, please type your intention into the chat. I step into whatever. And then, if you're on Zoom, wherever you are, stand with us. And when we read off of the chat, whatever it is that you have to share, if you can, take a step forward, step into it. Now, some of you have never been here before or have never come to the front and shared in this way, but this is the moment. We will celebrate, we will witness, we will be with your spirit. So, come on. There's the line. Step in.
I step into my fear of suffering.
And go ahead, make the line all the way up there.
I step into vital health and energy.
I step into a new role in Whatcom County as advisor for a youth group.
I step into less worry.
I step in to 10 minutes a day, at least 5 days a week.
And I can come around if anybody needs to raise their hand because they can't walk up. And have the line come, the whole line come all the way up to the line to keep it going. So.
I step into freedom from worry.
I step into my continued hard work as an elementary school counselor, and this has been a bad week.
I step into difficult conversations.
I step in to love unbounded.
I step into sharing music and art. I step into taking care of myself.
I step into accepting and embracing what is.
I step into daily exercise to get the endorphins cooking and the anxiety reduced.
I step into a new relationship with work and writing.
And on chat, I step into a loving community. And I step into deeper connections.
Thank you. And I trust that many of us, it's still churning within us. Maybe later today or later this week, there will be a moment in which you can find just one word and embody that step. If you are with us on Zoom today, please stay after the service for our online version of Coffee Hour. If you're here in person, please join us downstairs for coffee and conversation. If you're new, we'd be grateful to have you provide us with contact information so we can let you know what's happening here. There are yellow visitor cards you can fill in your contact info that are in the backs of the pews. And you can just put those in the collection basket or provide information to us on buff.org. Another great opportunity for you to get to know us and us to get to know you is to come to our auction, which is next Saturday. And there's more information about that in the order of service. And finally, next Sunday, we'll be celebrating our annual flower communion, in which we create a mandala of flowers right here in the sanctuary, and then bring it down to Whatcom Creek to release it into the vast. Please bring flowers, a couple or a whole bunch to share. And if you're at home for flower communion, I'll be giving further instructions in the midweek update, which you can also find on buff.org. And I invite the ushers forward to receive the morning offering. Wow, thank you, Claire. And thank you all for your generosity today, for all the ways that you have of supporting the mission of this congregation with your financial contributions, but also with your presence here with us and your presence within the world, bringing the joy and hope and resilience that we build here to share with so many people who need that. And thank you, Melanie, for playing for us today. We're going to sing now our closing hymn in the Teal Hymnal number 1059, May Your Life Be As a Song. It's a short song, so Melanie's going to play through it once, and then we'll sing through it 3 times.
And softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light, and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light, and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night.
Please be seated. This is a poem called Epitaph by Merritt Malloy. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give to me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. And now, please join us, circling round for freedom, hymn 155.